All right. So in this section, we are going to talk about the fear of being selfish that tends to come up when learning how to set boundaries. So feeling selfish it's a huge barrier that most people face when they're setting it, because you are really used to typically catering to other people all the time, or making adjustments based on what other people want and want to do. So standing up for yourself can feel so uncomfortable that can almost be mistaken for selfishness. So we're going to go through that in this module and hopefully calm some of these fears that you have. Sorry about that. All right. So basically, what it means to be selfish is focusing on your own pleasure with a total disregard for other people. And the thing is that, yeah, when you start setting boundaries, you are working for the things that you want, but you're not going to disregard other people along the process. And especially if your natural tendency is to be a people pleaser, I wouldn't worry too much that you're going to end up flying all the way over to the other side and just disregarding any people in your life. The whole thing is that you want to have healthy relationships and you want to feel the love and the connection that comes along with them. So the selfishness is a disregard for the people you love. And in terms of setting boundaries, it actually will help build these relationships. So when it comes to selfishness, taking care of yourself is never, ever selfish. My guess is that you've probably heard this before. We've all heard the oxygen mask scenario, right? That you have to take care of yourself before you can really take care of anybody else. And it is really, really true. You need to make sure that you are doing well and that you're having those basic needs met, and that it's just all taking care of yourself first, right? That you're just making sure of that, because then you can be a better vessel for other people. You can be more present for them. You can actually care for them better when you know that you're taken care of. And so, like I mentioned, boundaries are served to just meet your own basic needs. And we'll be going over this in a little bit, but this is just the baseline. These are basic needs. You're not asking for the world. You're not trying to actively harm anybody else to get it. And just as another perspective, helping other people all the time might actually be hindering their growth. So if you're always trying to save the day or rescue somebody from feeling any pain, or you don't want them to feel uncomfortable, you might actually be harming them. So I believe that there is a universal value to the failures we have, to the mistakes that we make, to the lessons that need to be learned. I think that in the grand scheme of things, that most lessons are best learned with real, true personal experience. And by saving somebody else or trying to save them from harm, or like I said, just like prevent them from feeling any failure or anything like that, you might actually be harming their growth. A little bit of a funny example, but my husband and I just watched a show on Netflix called Snowflake Mountain, and it's a little reality show about some kids in their younger to mid 20s, and they got sent to this wilderness mountain area because their parents didn't know what to do with them anymore, because these people had been taken care of all their lives. And now as grown adults, they don't know what to do for themselves, and they don't know how to help themselves. And they just have never experienced any true difficult situations. So it was just a funny little show about that. And I thought, yeah, that's a great example of how, trying to prevent discomfort for others actually creates more of a problem later in the future. So here are the basic emotional needs as I was talking about. So you can go through this list. The worksheet that is available will also have this on here, but this list comes from a book called Boundaries After a Pathological Relationship by Adeline Birch. And although you don't necessarily need to have been in a pathological relationship, these needs still are basic needs that every one of us deserves and that need to be met for us to feel safe in our own lives. So don't get too worried about reading through this whole list now. Like I said, the worksheet will have this as well. So when you go through the worksheet, it's basically just kind of to be used as a guide. So when you have some time alone, review it, and just see what comes up. Like, look at the list and see and ask yourself, are these needs getting met? Are any of these getting completely neglected? And see what comes up in emotion as far as emotional responses go. You might feel some really triggered feelings that come up. There might be some really deep things that get unearthed here. And just really follow the journal prompt that's on the guide and explore this a little bit further. And of course, if anything comes up and you feel the safety that you'd be okay coming into the community and talking about it, we are absolutely here as a safe space for you to share. But sometimes when you come to the realization that you have been lacking some of these needs and that you haven't been standing up for yourself, there can be a lot of stuff that suddenly bubbles up. So we're here for you. Please don't be afraid to come and talk to us. Or again, this might be a great time, if you haven't yet, to book one of your one-on-one sessions with me, and I can provide that space for you. I can hold space for whatever it is that you're feeling, and we can talk about it more. All right, so in the next video, we are going to talk about learning more about yourself. Sometimes when you are too focused on other people, you start losing who you really are. So we'll go over that more soon. See you. All right, so in this